Muy buenos días a todas las personas que están conectadas en este momento. Un feliz año para ustedes. Bienvenidos al primer webinar de este 2021. Hoy estamos con Chalmers University of Technology y nos acompañan Abhilash y Cecilia, quienes estarán realizando la presentación. Queremos contarles que tenemos un nuevo convenio con esta universidad que es de un 25% de descuento en el valor de la matrícula en los programas de maestría de esta universidad. Les doy la bienvenida y empezaremos la presentación. Recuerden que en cualquier momento pueden hacer las preguntas que tengan en el chat que encuentran en la parte inferior de sus pantallas y estas serán respondidas al finalizar la presentación. Abhilash, Cecilia, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks a lot, Camila. Thank you.
You can now start the presentation.
Yes, I'll throw on the presentation really quickly. Just keep my phone here so I know what time it is so I don't miss out on anything. Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about Chalmers University of Technology, and we basically have one hashtag that we use everywhere on social media, and that is We Are Chalmers. So please go ahead and use this hashtag on most social media. We should be available. So on the most common ones like YouTube and Facebook, you would find us easily with this hashtag, and that's where we usually post our content that is supposed to inspire you to choose us to study with us, right? Chalmers University of Technology has one vision, and that vision is for a sustainable future. The reason we have this is because of the fact that we understand that the only way the world and humanity can survive the different crises that we are facing, for example, the pandemic or even the climate crisis, the only way we can do this is through sustainable methods. So with the help of scientific methods, scientific excellence as basis, and therefore promoting such knowledge, we try to ensure that we save the world, so to speak. Now, we don't want to feel like we are heroes of any sort, but we do know that you can be the heroes that actually save the world. So we need to equip you with the tools that will help you do it. And the best way to do it would be through sustainable methods. That is why For a Sustainable Future is Chalmers's motto, right? It's our vision. Actually, our motto is avancer, which means to go forward, to charge, right? Like avances. So knowledge for the benefit of humanity. So how do we do this? We do this by ensuring that we connect our education to the different sustainable development goals that have been taken up by the United Nations. So the UN has set up SDGs. There are 17 of them. And we try to ensure that everything we do is some way connected to one or several sustainable development goals that you can find on the UN's list. And we will do this by ensuring it's part of your classes, your labs, the different facilities, and even the experience that you have on our campus. So, for example, you will find solar trash compactors on campus and solar panels on roofs and things like that, just to be able to ensure that you are imbued with the idea of sustainable solutions and sustainability as a choice. So Chalmers University of Technology was started in 1829. So in about 9 years' time, or in about 8 years' time, we would actually be 200 years old. So we are a fairly old university. We have about 38 master's programs. These programs are basically within the area of architecture, engineering, technology management. So these are the three different areas within which our programs are divided, and you will find them all on our website, right? We have 2 campus locations where we teach and do research mostly, right? And then there are actually 3 campus locations totally where we have another research facility. We'll get to that in a moment. So we have 2 campus locations where education is conducted. All our master's programs are running for 2 full years, and they are full-time studies, which means that you will spend about approximately 40 hours per week studying. This will include self-study. We have about 3,000 master's students, about 400 exchange students, about 10,000 students in total. And all of those students are actually called Chalmerists. Very few universities actually give a name to their students. We call our students Chalmerists. We don't call them Chalmers students or anything like that. They are called Chalmerists. We have about 1,000 international students, and we also have about 3,000 employees at the university. This includes people like me and Cecilia. It also includes teachers, it includes researchers, and also doctoral candidates. So people that actually conduct PhD studies are considered actually employees of the university. This means that PhD students do not pay any tuition fees to the university. They don't pay us. We actually give them a salary because they are employed by us. We are located on the west coast of Sweden. So Sweden has a short west coast and a long east coast. And we are on the west coast of Sweden on the same side as the Atlantic Ocean, right? So basically what we have is a small the second largest city in Sweden, and it's called Gothenburg. And we are located in Gothenburg. The capital is, of course, Stockholm, and that's on the east coast. So we are on the west coast of Sweden. Gothenburg is our city, and we have about 1 million people who live here. Of these 1 million people, about 500,000 live in the urban area. And in that urban area, about 50,000 are actually students. So about 1/10 the urban population is actually students. So it's a very young city. And it's also a very green city. So there's a lot of nature. If you've ever taken a look at the Google Maps of Sweden, you'll see a lot of green, basically. There's a lot of forest and green space in Sweden in general, and Gothenburg is no exception. So there's a lot of nature. In fact, if you walk 15 minutes in any direction, you usually end up in a park or a forest or near a lake or something like that. So there's always access to nature. The city is also very bike friendly. So there's a lot of bike lanes and things like that, which makes sure that you actually can get from place to place easily. Public transport is very well connected. It is actually efficient. It takes you from place to place on time. So you don't have difficulties getting to a place if you're planning to meet somebody, right? So it's a modern city, but it's also an old city. So if you can think of European cities, they typically have an old nature to them. Gothenburg was started in 1621. So actually this year, Gothenburg is becoming 400 years old. So we're a pretty old city also. So there's a lot of history, tradition, culture associated with Gothenburg. And then, of course, it has the modern aspect to it, which means it has all the modern amenities like bars and clubs and restaurants and movie theaters and opera and all the other things, concerts, so on and so forth. So lots of good things happening in the city. It's also a very international city because of this. Because actually, the city of Gothenburg is the headquarters for Volvo, is the headquarters for Ericsson, there's headquarters of SKF, and a bunch of other companies are located over here. Gothenburg is also famous for its metal music, for example. There is actually a genre called Gothenburg metal. So if you're looking up metal music, you might actually find a few bands that were started here. Then we've got the rankings. So Chalmers is ranked 139 in the world, but you can also see that we are very highly ranked in the Nordic region and in Europe. And as you go down the list, you will start noticing how the more specific you get to engineering, the higher our ranking gets. This is because we are an engineering university. So the focused ranking lists or the subject-specific ranking lists will rank us better and higher because we can only compete amongst the engineering universities and not amongst the comprehensive universities. So you can see we are very highly ranked when it comes to employability. You can see we are very highly ranked when it comes to entrepreneurship, our own business incubator. We have our own business incubator. We're number 1 in the Nordic region, 6 to 10 in the world. For CWTS, it's actually a ranking list that looks at the amount of publications that a university makes in conjunction with industry. Earlier slide, I told you how Gothenburg has a lot of companies in it. This is because the ranking is so high for us on CWTS because we collaborate with all of those companies. So there's a lot of collaboration that we do with industry, which means your education is very industry and research oriented. So there's a lot of applied aspect and research aspect to what you do. When we look at Chalmers and we usually meet students ask us, what are the things we should think about when choosing Chalmers? There are 8 things that we usually take up. Of these 8, the first 4 are these. One is that Chalmers is a hierarchically flat environment. So this means basically that you get to meet everybody on a first name basis. You're not going to call me Mr. You're not going to call me sir. You're not going to call me professor or any other such title. You will simply call me Abhilash. That's it. A teacher might be named Mats, might be named Michael, might be named Sarah. It doesn't matter. Whatever her or his name is, you will use their first name. That's it. You're not going to be calling anybody with a title, which means you will get very friendly with them, which means you can argue and discuss with them like you are peers. And this will enable you to learn much more than you would in a hierarchical environment, right? Where there is a lot of power distance between you and a teacher. There's always information that is lost in that distance. And here you will be on the same level. So you will learn much, much better. Group projects are a very common thing at the university, because what happens is basically that you have to work in groups. Even when it comes to your master's thesis, you will learn from each other, from different cultures. You will learn to communicate in a way that everybody understands, so that you actually make learn to work in a global environment, which is basically the world that we are in today. The connection between education, research, and industry, I just talked to you about, right? The fact that we have so many companies here and we connect with them on a very basic level, right? So it's so much so that they are able to actually be part of the decisions as to what courses and how they are taught at Chalmers. They come in and they give you guest lectures and things like that. So there's a lot of industry interaction. International Student Barometer is a survey of students. So what happens over here is basically that students are asked, what do you think about the university you're studying at? And that creates a ranking list of all the universities that participate in this survey. And we are number 1 for student satisfaction. So there's a lot of, let's say, customer satisfaction, to put it in very basic terms. It's customer satisfaction when it comes to Chalmers, yeah? Now we've got the last 4. So out of the 8, the second set of 4 reasons would be that we have a very international environment at the university. More than 60 nationalities are present on campus. This means that you are actually going to make a global network of friends, future employees and employers, future colleagues. So all of these people will come from around the world for you, right? You will be given a 6-month free introductory course. It's actually built into your fees. That's why it's free, so to speak, because we actually partner with a private company that teaches Swedish. So you will be able to learn with them. You will be given a basic lesson. So that will be basically from A1 to A2. And this is a maximum of 6 months. But if you do it in the fastest or the most intense form, then you will finish it in 5 weeks. In any case, you will do levels A1 and A2. You also have student housing guaranteed for you. So that means that you will already have a place to live even before you come to Chalmers. You will, of course, have to pay the rent and things like that, but we will make sure that you find a place to live. The reason we do this is because there is a bit of a difficulty finding accommodation, and we don't want you to be worried about where you will live when you come to Sweden. So you will already have a place to live by the time you come to Sweden and start your studies at Chalmers. Social life is something that we know is very, very important in your experience of being a student in Sweden. And the reason is that you will be far away from home. We know that especially Latin American students, you are very close to your family. And when you're so far away, then you might feel alone, or you might feel like you're homesick and things like that. A good, strong, safe, and secure social life will ensure that you have that family away from family, home away from home. So we try to make sure that you have student buddies that help you, fathers, which are also student buddies basically, and other friends from around the world from these 60 nationalities. We make sure that you have that environment around you. The application timeline. Here is something that's very important. You will see it in yellow. Please pay attention very closely to it. On the 15th of January, that's basically tomorrow, in Swedish time at 23:59, we will close our application window. Now, you are all eligible to make an application. So please make an application before tomorrow, 23:59 Swedish time. So I know that it's a little early for you. So you more or less have 2 full days to make your application. So please make sure that you go into the university admissions website and you make the application. I will go through that for you in a little while as well. So basically tomorrow, 23:59 Swedish time is the deadline for making an application. The 1st of February is the documentation deadline. The reason for you to understand the difference between these two is this. An application consists of two parts. The first part is just saying, I want to apply for these programs. The second part is supporting this application with documentation. So the first part, which is for the 15th of January, is for you to go to this website, the Chalmers website, look at the programs that we have, choose the program, and then it will go to another website, which is called University Admissions. This website is a Swedish government website, which is a single website for Sweden. So all Swedish universities will use this website for applications. You will go to that website, you will make an account, and then you will choose this program that you found on the Chalmers website and maybe maximum 3 other programs. So totally you can apply for up to 4 programs. You will put this in an order of priority. You will say, I want the first one the most, the last one the least. And once you're done with that, you will basically click on confirm submission. That's it. This is what you need to do by the 15th of January. That's tomorrow by 23:59. That's part 1. Part 2 is for you to support that application with documentation. This means that you will give us your transcripts, your syllabus, your degree certificate, your CV, your letters of recommendation, your statements of purpose, or your letter of intent, and things like that. All of those things are documents which will support your application. So part 2, which you need to finish before 1st of February, is something that will support part 1, which you need to finish before tomorrow at 23:59 Swedish time, right? And then in April, you will get your admissions results. May, there will be the deadline for paying tuition fees. And then in June, we will have some pre-departure activities. And then in September, August, September, you will start studying. So there's a process in place that will take place quite some time. But then you have to finish this thing before 23:59 tomorrow. First, choosing these 4 programs and saying, I want to put them in an order and confirm submission. That's it. All of these important dates you can find on chalmers.se/key dates. Right? On the Chalmers website, we also have some support functions. We'll get to that in a moment towards the end of the presentation. So as I was saying, how do you make an application? You'll simply go to chalmers.se/masters because the masters programs are found there. And then you will choose one program that you want the most, that you like the most. Click on the Apply Now button that's on the website. It will take you to this website that is called universityadmissions.se. It is a government website. Over there, you will choose this one program. You will create an account, and then you might choose maybe 3 other programs if you want. You will put that in an order and say, in this order, I want it to be. That is the first one I want the most, the last one the least. And then you will pay an application fee of 900 Swedish crowns. That deadline is also the 1st of February. So tomorrow's deadline is only for those 4 programs, just to choose them and say confirmation. 1st of February deadline, you have to give the documents and the 900 Swedish crowns. Now we come to the tuition fees. So the tuition fees for architecture programs is 95,000 Swedish crowns per semester. I actually don't have it calculated already in pesos, but I will figure it out and I'll let you know, or maybe US dollars. But that would be approximately 9,500 US dollars per semester, right? Approximately. And then, so you're paying also per semester. You're paying the fees also only per semester. So before you arrive, you will pay for the first semester. Then before the second semester, you will pay for the second semester, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Architecture programs, it's 70,000 Swedish crowns or 7,000 US dollars approximately per semester, right? And then for you, we also have our own scholarships. Now, of course, we are talking about Col Futuro, but we have our own scholarships, and our scholarships are 75% scholarships, and also some are 100% scholarships. You can find them on the chalmers.se/scholarships webpage. But let's talk about Col Futuro. So we have, as Camilla was saying, we have just now actually signed an agreement. So we are part of Col Futuro now. We are a partner with Col Futuro, which means that you are able to apply for scholarships with them. In this case, you actually get a 25% discount, a waiver of your tuition fees for 2 students. And this is equivalent to 1 full semester of fees, right? So you're getting a 1 semester discount on your fees if you have a Col Futuro scholarship. And this scholarship is valid for 2 full years, right? So basically, for the period of 2 years is where the scholarship is valid, or the waiver is valid. Next, we have our facilities. Just to speak a bit about the scholarships and the admissions process itself, we are basically looking for always academically meritorious students, right? So it's all the scholarship decisions that we make, all the decisions that we make as far as admissions is concerned, they're all based on merit. They're not based on much more else. So yes, of course, some of the documents that you submit will be taken into consideration. Documents such as your letters of recommendation, letter of intent, and things like that do play a role. But the most important or the heaviest part of your application is, of course, your grade transcripts and which university you studied at. So both of those things will play a rather strong role in our decisions because we are looking for good, meritorious students. As far as the facilities are concerned, Chalmers has many different facilities. We've got several libraries and so on and so forth. And the third campus place that I was talking about is this thing that you see on the top right corner. And that's the Onsala Space Observatory, which is actually part of our third campus. And you will be studying over there, or you will have research possibilities over there if you're studying, let's say, communications engineering, wireless engineering, or something like physics, radio astronomy, and things like that. And we also have our own clean room for nanotechnology and embedded systems students and materials engineering students. We also give you career support, healthcare support, education support with English and mathematics and things like that. It's a very vibrant student union activity set. During the academic year, you will have a lot of education-based activities and non-education-based activities. So there will be courses and coursework and assignments and projects, exams, thesis, and things like that. But there'll also be vacations and career fairs and lunch lectures and a lot of other extracurricular activities as well. After studies, you will be able to stay back for 12 months. Basically, you will be able to apply for a 12-month stay back period to be able to maybe find a job or start a PhD or even start your own company. There are students who have stayed back and started their own companies. So you can do that. And as I told you, a PhD is a job, which means that you will get a salary. You will not need to pay any fees to the university for this. Yeah. So, and we are, as I already told you, highly ranked when it comes to employability and things like that. So it's nothing you need to be worried about to find a job, generally speaking. Then, of course, there are situations like the pandemic, which can make it difficult, but in general, it's okay. So as I was telling you, it's a full-time position. It's a temporary employment, which means that you have a contract of up to 5 years. You are hired by the university. The position includes a salary. You will pay taxes on this salary. You will not need to pay any tuition fees, and it's based on research and courses. So you will not only do your own research, you will have to do some courses and also sometimes some administrative activities, such as teaching or other administrative activities to kind of finish your job as a PhD candidate, right? It's a very highly competitive environment. You need to be a good student in your master's level to be able to do start a PhD. You will have to go through an interview and things like that. You need a master's degree to be able to start a PhD. So without that, you will not be able to start a PhD. And to be able to start a PhD, you need to apply for the job just like any other job, which means you'll have to go to the Chalmers website to find the vacancies that we have available to be able to make an application. Here are some important links. As I was telling you earlier, there are ways in which you can contact us. Chalmers.se/masters is where you will find the programs, /tuition fees, information about fees, /scholarships about scholarships, /meet us about the events that we're doing. In fact, today's webinar was actually also listed on this page over here. And then you will also find universityadmissions.se is the website where you can make an application. You can chat with our students just by scanning that QR code or by going to our website and looking at contact information. So you can actually chat with our students and also chat with me and Cecilia. So we will be able to help you here with one-on-one help in a way. And then there are other ways in which you can get in touch with us. We don't really have a channel available open for just Colombian students, but you can of course join the Telegram group and we can answer your questions over there. if you want to have a text-based direct contact with us. And that brings us to the end of today's presentation. So if you want, we can run over to the Q&A now.
Avilash, thank you so much for this presentation. We will now start with the questions. We have quite a few.
Yes.
So Joseph is asking if tomorrow the registration will be closed. Is there any possibility you will start like open another one during this year?
Well, so the thing is, if you cannot make an application in time by tomorrow, you can still make an application, but then that would be considered a late application. The problem with late applications is only one small thing, but that small thing actually carries a lot of weight, and that is that your application may not get evaluated. So you can make a late application, but then you may not get evaluated. And that's a bit of a risk to take if you're paying 900 Swedish crowns. We don't really have more than one application round per year, which means that if you miss this application round, then the only time you can apply again is next year. So next year, October, as in when I say next year, I mean 2021, October, will be the application round opening for 2022. So if you remember from the presentation, let me just pick it up once again, actually, quickly. Here we go. We are here. And if I run back and I show you this one, you will see that the time here is 16th October. So this year in October, the application period for 2022 will open again. So in a year, we only have one application period.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Jorge, and he says, I did my application process for Chalmers University already, but now I have trouble because British Council is closed due to COVID and my IELTS exam has been cancelled. Is it possible to send this evidence when it will be available for having the option and do not lose the process?
Right. So we know this is a big issue because of the pandemic. It's creating troubles for everybody, especially when it comes to English tests. Yeah. What we do know is the deadline is a deadline. We can't really do anything about it because those deadlines are set by the Swedish government, right? And they're set in place to be able to ensure that we can evaluate your applications because you're paying for them. So we need to make sure that we have enough time to evaluate your applications. With that said, if all your documentation comes in before the 1st of February, and it's only the English documentation that is left out, then we can wait a little bit for your English documentation to come in. And when I say a little bit, maybe 2 weeks, but not more than that, right? So if you can come in with all the other documentation before the 1st of February, and it's only the English test score that is missing, and the English test score comes in, let's say, mid-February, it's okay. We will still evaluate your application as an on-time application. But anything more than that, anything more than 4 weeks is definitely a no-no.
Perfect. The next question says, I already applied to Chalmers. Due to the actual COVID situation, how will the university manage the situation of international students in the autumn semester of this year in case international flights will not be allowed in our country to go there?
Right. That's a difficult question to answer because we'll have to look, 9 months ahead into the future to know how things will turn out. We do not really know what the situation will be. So that's a question that can only be answered closer to the time of travel. So I think by, let's say, July, August, maybe August, we should have an answer that is more useful for you than me trying to speculate now about it.
Great, for sure. The next one says, according to the Chalmers schedule, the last day to pay the tuition fee is the 14th of May. Yes. How would the payment tuition fee process in case I will be one of the Colfuturo loan scholarship beneficiaries, taking into account that the Colfuturo results will be published until May 13th?
Right. So, Cecilia, do you want to answer that?
And maybe Johanna can assist me a little bit in this because it's connected also to the Colfuturo process. But overall, it's like this, that we will, in a way, let you pay the fee a little bit later. So we know that you will receive money from Colfuturo in that case. So you will be able to pay the fees in the beginning of the semester. So in the beginning of September in that case.
So basically, just to complement what Cecilia mentioned, is that if you are selected as a Colfuturo beneficiary, our agreement will deal with that situation. So if you go with our loan scholarship, don't worry about it. We will handle that with the university. That's right, Cecilia?
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. You have nothing to worry about is the bottom line here.
Yeah. It's fine.
So we have another question from Andres, and he says, I already applied to Chalmers through SI. How would be the process with Colfuturo if I want to take advantage from the 25% discount and the scholarship credit that the organization offers? You would have to apply to the Programa Crédito Beca, and if you are selected, you can be a beneficiary of this alliance. The next question is from Carolina, and she says, can I apply for the Colfuturo waiver of tuition fee and at the same time for a scholarship for global professionals?
I don't think so, right? So that's the, you're talking about the Swedish Institute scholarship plus the Colfuturo thing. I'm not sure how that would work. I think that would be a question that's better taken up with Swedish Institute rather than with us, because we are not the ones that administer those scholarships. So the global professional scholarships is with Swedish Institute. They would be the only ones who will be able to answer how that would work out.
Yeah, with Colfuturo you can do it, but I think you should ask the other organization just to make sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
And from Chalmers' side, it's like if you receive the Swedish Institute scholarship, you will not receive any scholarship from us. But of course, it's depending on how the Swedish Institute sees on this in this case.
Yes.
Yeah. They're asking if they'll get the video later, and yes, we will be sending the link to everyone who registered to this webinar with the full session, so you don't have to worry about that. I think we don't have any further questions at the moment. Maybe if you could show again the slide where you have your email address so they can contact you if they have any questions. And yeah, maybe you want to add something else before finishing the webinar?
Really nothing else other than the same old drum that I was beating on earlier. The 15th of January, that's tomorrow at 23:59 is the deadline. And it's a very, very simple process, actually. All you got to do is go to that website, make an account. And once you go to that website and make an account, and the website I'm talking about is this one, the last one over here. It's called universityadmissions.se. You just need to go to that website, make an account. And once you've made the account, choose 4 programs. And those 4 programs can come from Chalmers. They don't have to come from only Chalmers, but they can all be from Chalmers as well. So you choose 4 programs, you put them in an order, and you say confirm. And that's it. That's it's literally 3 steps. You just need to do those 3 steps before 23:59 tomorrow, Swedish time, and you're done. So that's the only thing that, the last thing that I wanted to beat my drum on again. As I was saying, you can chat with our students. This is the best way for you to get in touch with our students and with us. Then, of course, you have all of these methods by which you can get in touch with us.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Cecilia, do you want to add something else?
I don't think I have something to add at the moment. We look forward to your applications and to receive your questions if you have any questions.
Exactly.
For sure. Thank you so much for being here. Muchas gracias a todas las personas que se conectaron. Recuerden que les estaremos enviando el link de esta sesión a sus correos para que puedan verlo, revisarlo y tener la información completa. Que tengan un feliz día. Have a very nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.